Hello, President Herzog and Prime Minister Benjamin NetanYahu. I have a very urgent message for you. This is our week that we're celebrating booths according to the seventh new moon, and we have been failing at it miserably. We're so busy doing our own things, and during this whole time of booths, I've been watching the war, the things that you're going through, your people. I'm crying with you, all you mothers losing your sons, not just your nation, but other nations, all the nations. You guys don't even know that you're all related. You're all the 12 tribes of Israel and your cousins. But, back in Old Testament, there were 6 brothers that stood on one mountain and another 6 that stood on another. 6 to curse, 6 to bless. And there's some things that he has told me to tell you. And the first one is that there are things that have been put under the ban that are among the possessions of Yisrael, your people. I don't know if you remember the story of Joshua when they were going in to take the promised land. The people were commanded not to want any of the possessions of the land that they were going in. They were to be burned. They were to be destroyed. No one was to take anything except for the silver and the gold and the copper, which was for the Father. And so I guess all that's over. They go up against AI next, and they're losing the battle, and they run. And so Yehoshua goes into the Father's presence. He's like, what's happening? Why aren't you with us? And he said that the possessions that were put under the ban are among your children's possessions. Those things put under the ban were all those trinkets, the idols, I'm going to get to that, because you're going to recognize that you too, your people, have things that the entire world celebrates these holidays to pagan gods. The month of the calendar is named after a pagan god. The days of the week are named after pagan gods. We've gotten so far away from our agreement with him in the wilderness for the blessing. He says, my children have forgotten my name for Baal. Did you know when you use the name Lord, you're actually using the name Baal, and you don't even know it? It's just like the name Jesus. It's pronounced Jesus. Ask your Mexican friend. He'll tell you how it's pronounced. We've just accepted it that it's pronounced Jesus, and it's not. You invited him into your hearts. The whole land has invited these pagan gods into their hearts. And that's what he says. You're worshiping all these gods that the world has all throughout the year, and you're not keeping my festivals. And when you're keeping my festivals, you're not doing it on the right days. And he says, he's tired. He's very jealous. He's extremely upset with all of us because we've forgotten about him. And he's fixing to come destroy us with fire. The children of Israel that took the possessions to put under the ban, they were stoned to death. First, they were called to come by tribes. Then they were called to come by families. And then they were called to come by men. And those people were stoned to death, and then they were burned, and then they were piled, a pile of rocks were heaped up on them. And, your enemies have surrounded you. And I don't know if you know this, but in Exodus 3, he gives us his only name. It is, I am that which I am, right? Because all of Israel packed up what they could carry and left their possessions. They got up and left. So it's a powerful name. He says this is his name forever throughout all generations. And we know he doesn't change. So in Hebrew, I'm going to give you a Hebrew lesson. Aniyah, Asher, Aniyah. And that's what he showed me, because I looked up each word and what it meant, and I used 2 or 3 witnesses to establish the matter. Now, y'all may say it with a special tongue, but Aniyah Asher Aniyah, or Yahuwah, he who self-exists, and his son, Yahushua, he who cried out, right? Yah, am. You have it, his name in your name. And anyway, he said, it's time to get rid of all of those idols. You need to pull them out of your homes. You need to call a fast. Pull those idols out of your house, burn them. Get outside and burn them. That's what they did in Old Testament. The priests, as a matter of fact, when Moshe came down off the mountain, he saw that the priests had let the children of Israel loose to worship the golden calf, right? Because it's the ox. Ox head means strength and honor and mighty one. He's a mighty one. So that's what Aaron made for them to worship. Well, Moshe, he threw it in the fire. Then he took it out and he ground it up and he cast it onto the water and made all Israel drink it. 3,000 men died that day. And the priests, because Moses said, those of you who stand with me and stand with Yahuwah, draw upon your thigh your sword and kill your neighbor, your friend, your family member. Right? We got to put him first above everyone else. And that day those priests were ordained because they forsake everyone and get rid of the sin among them. And he says our sin is adultery, our many lovers, which are all the pagan gods that the world celebrates. You know them. You have decorations in your attic. You get them out every year and you decorate your house to these pagan gods. And you do it before his face. And so that's why he's coming against you. That's why he's coming against all of us. It's not just you. Gentiles means nations. And those who strive with their Creator is Yisrael. Deuteronomy 33 says they are a people set apart. You set yourself apart from the world. And our land is full of idols. And he's bringing our enemies against us. Those that we fear, he's going to bring against us. And he says he's Asher. Read Deuteronomy 33 on Asher. The mighty one is driving out the enemy before Asher and tells him to destroy, right? What does Abaddon and Apollyon mean? It means destruction, utter destruction. That which is under the ban means destruction. Those things were put under the ban in Old Testament, and we all have them in our house today. Everything. You should have 2 or 3 witnesses on everything you believe in. The true origin. That's all you have to do is look it up. And the reason why I'm telling you is because this is the time when he comes down, and we're to remember him in the wilderness where he came down and he gave us the word, and we all stood at our tents, and we all, well, not us, our ancestors. But, can you imagine it? And he came down in a cloud and a pillar of fire, and the children made sacrifices, and, and we're supposed to, bring a sacrifice by fire, and we weren't able to do that because we went camping, and there was a fire ban, and so, we just fail at it miserably. Even if we desire to worship him with all of our heart, we fail. But this is where we repent and we fall on our face and we cry out, right? Because there's a story in 2 Chronicles 20. Read it, because it's about the king of Israel surrounded by his enemies, right? And so they have some that's reading the law. They have some that are singing, which y'all are doing right now. You have people out there singing to the Father, but you're not using his name. Aniyah, I am. Asher, he's Asher. Or Yahuwah, and he who self-exists, right? Why wouldn't you want to use those? They're set apart holy names. Nobody knows them. So, what was I talking about? Anyway. Oh, so then he had people singing, and then he was reading the law, and then there were those who were praying, and then the king and them started singing a song, and Yahuwah told him to go up against his enemies. And that morning, and when they got up and they were going to war, they went into the camp, and everyone was dead. Yahuwah went into the camp and had the enemies of Israel kill the enemies of Israel, right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I couldn't think of that the other day. But Who do you want to fight for you? The one who hasn't answered you already. You're calling on, I don't know who you're calling on. Do you call on the name Jesus and Lord, Baal and Zeus? Or are you going to call on the one that your ancestors made a covenant with? You know, I made a vow. One day it was raining like it is right now. It was fixing to. And I said, if you let it rain in my yard only, I will tell everyone about your name. And I'm telling you, it didn't rain that night. That morning it was raining. I stood in it. It was amazing. But then blue skies. And in my mind, I thought, oh, that would have been so cool. Later that afternoon, my daughter got home, and she kept going, what is that? And I'm like, what? She goes, it's raining. It was raining at the end of my porch in just a column. And there wasn't a cloud in the sky. And it's because of that, when that happened, I believed in his name. And that's why I have the ability to sit here and warn you. Because that's what he showed me and my family that we were doing. I was on my deathbed, literally dying. And I just started calling on his name and falling on my face and asking for forgiveness. And I turned to him and I started reading his laws, and I realized I had all these lovers that I had before him, all these people that we were worshiping that are nothing, they're nobody. And it's time to get rid of them. I had a printer ink problem this morning. Anyway, beloved, get rid of those idols. You put a bonfire together and then test the names. Call on the names that you believe in. And if they bring, and you have to ask for fire and rain, because that's what he said. And so call on them. Tell them you'll worship the one that comes down and burns the idols. Right? Because even your mighty one would burn the idols if it meant keeping your worship. So put them in the fire. Burn them. Who cares? You can't take none of that with you. And doesn't he mean more to you? I mean, you're a natural branch, right? And here's who's against you. The Assyrians, Asher, the tribe of Asher. They're the ones that have been given the assignment to come up against his children. And he's coming to collect his debt. The wages of sin is death. And you guys are doing really good right now, but don't you want to see a miracle? Don't you want to see the one that you love, the one that you worship? Because you are set apart in some ways, but your heart's not in it, just like our heart's not in it. And he's like in the beginning with Pharaoh, right? His works were all those plagues and miracles, which he's fixing to do now, because the beginning is like the end. And so you're going to see some miracles. And you need to get rid of them idols. You need to have all your people clean out their homes, and then ask for forgiveness, and start singing, start reading the law. You're going to be surprised how many idols you have in your house. You know, I'm talking angels and crosses and scriptures with the names of Zeus and Baal in them, and just get rid of them. We threw away all of our old Bibles. I threw away my grandma's Bible. That was really hard. But you know what? He means more to me than all of that. He means more to me than I'm not going to say it, because he needs to be more to us than our neighbors and our family members. He needs to be more important than your best friend or your wife or your husband. He needs to come first before your children. You know, sometimes we just have to stop and say, am I doing it the right way? And I'm telling you, he took me off my deathbed. He said, if you call on my name and return to me and enter into my rest, I will return to you. And that's what he did. I'm alive. I still get sick. Satan's still trying to kill me. Oh, the things I've gone through, to get here. Anyway, I wrote a book on all of it. I put 10 chapters together on all the things that he showed me that I had to get rid of in my life. And that's why I'm talking to you, President Herzog and Prime Minister NetanYahu. Your enemies have surrounded you. And call on the one who's going to destroy them. Destroy your enemies. And this is to every nation, every country. Turn back to the Father. That's not his name. You're calling on the wrong name. And I hope you realize that you're the temple. There's no third temple being built. Your heart is the seat of jealousy. He created you. That's what he says. Jeremiah 51:1. You are his hakal, his temple. And we've invited Jesus and Lord into our hearts, the seed of jealousy, the abomination that causes desolation. This is the great falling away it's almost over with. The great falling away has already happened. And, it said that Satan would deceive the whole world, even the elect, the ones that we elect into office. And I think that's why I'm doing this before we know who our president is. I don't care. Because I vote for the Most High. He can turn anybody's heart. He put a spirit of prophecy on King Solomon and a spirit of prophecy on King Saul. And when they dedicated the temple, right, there were tongues of fire above the leaders of Israel's head. That is Yahuwah. He's the fire. Ezekiel 1 and Revelations 1. He's the fire, and he's coming against us. And so I hope you'll heed the warning and gather up all those idols and burn them. Get rid of them. They can't save you. Matter of fact, they'll just add to the fire that's coming after you, coming after all of us. It is definitely the season. I see everything lined up. I study scripture a lot. I love the stories. And I hope you'll fall before the Father, facing towards Jerusalem, the mountain of peace, the mountain of Yahuwah. And we're praying for you in Texas. I'm praying for the children of the Most High. And I'm praying for your sons and daughters, even your enemies' sons and daughters. Mothers are crying. Hearts are broken. I can't imagine losing my sons. And I'm sorry you guys are going through this, but we asked for a king. We asked for a king when we went into the promised land. We asked for someone to rule over us. Instead of following the Father, after all the miracles he did, we said, give us a king, give us a king. Yeah, that's not working out so good. But we deserve it. We stray too much. Come back to the Father. Enter into his rest. Thursday is the Sabbath of the new moon. Or it's the Sabbath for the 7th month is Thursday. It's the last day of our feast, which is called the last great day. And I hope everyone will bow down. Face the east. Face the north. He's our true north. But it is time. And I'm so glad that you guys like rainbows. Because I had 500 views on a rainbow. Because I had asked for a gentle rain. And I had asked for not a big storm, because every year he comes in this huge storm. It scares me so much. And I finally got to live what Yisrael felt on Mount Sinai when he came down in the thunder and lightning and the whirlwind and the earth shook, right? That's what he is. He came down and the children were afraid, and I was too, so I asked for a gentle rain, and then he gave me a rainbow. So, because I'm reading about Noah right now in the book of Jubilees, and we're praying for you. I'm sorry you're going through these things. Repent.